Hey everybody, it's Charlie. So the actor that plays the Night King did a big spread and preview of his character during Season 8. He dropped a couple really big teasers, so we'll break it down. There's a new round of the book giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on the video. The new preview that they dropped for him has a couple Easter eggs in here, so everybody's wondering about his weapon here. This is the ice sword that he's been using for the last couple of seasons. We just haven't gotten a really good look at it, but you see it as far back as Season 6, Episode 5, when he's assaulting the Three-Eyed Raven's tree. Like you see him hold it up here. When he walks down, he kills him with it as Bran is running away with Mira. Even though you can't actually see what symbol is on that door knocker because it could be a lion's mane and that could be King's Landing, but I think more likely, because they don't want to give away big spoilers, is that it's a shaggy wolf's head and it's at the gates to Winterfell. And it's like, wolf at the gates because, as legend tells, the Night King was once a Stark of Winterfell. So it's kind of like he's coming home, even though he obviously isn't human anymore. There's still a human part to him, as the actor says. So there's some really cool information that he gives, and he talks about a very specific target that he has during Season 8. So we just broke this down top 9 style. The actor's name is Vladimir Furtick. He actually took over from the previous actor that played the Night King during Hardhome. He talks about the other things that he's done on Game of Thrones and how he wound up playing the Night King. So his first big role as a White Walker was actually playing the White Walker that Jon Snow crossed swords with and then smashed during the Hardhome battle, while there was another actor playing the Night King. He says he's not totally sure why Dan and Dave picked him to become the next Night King, but they said that after that episode, they approached him before Season 6 and said, "Do you want to play the Night King?" And of course he said yes. He's also been a stuntman on the TV show doing other big scenes, so he says he's done a lot of horse falls, fire drops, high falls, sword fights. He said he doubled for Arthur Dayne during the Tower of Joy fight scene. And during Season 6, when Daenerys' dragons are burning the Wise Master ship, you have 3 dragons on that one boat. He said that he was one of the people jumping off the boat into the bay. Number 8, he talks about how the different directors want him to show different sides of the Night King, more cold, inhuman stuff, and then other scenes where he's a little more human-like. He says all the different directors that have directed him while he's playing the Night King have a different vision of how they want him to play the character. Dan and Dave want him to be more like a cold man. Some of the other directors want him to show that there's still some human side to him there, even though we've never heard him speak, and obviously we haven't seen him emote that much, but the way he says it here, they actually do want him to have some expressions on his face sometimes that make him seem more human. Number 7, he explains what the Night King wants, quote unquote. He says somebody made him the Night King. Nobody knows who he was before. A soldier, part of the nobility. Like we say, legend tells, he's a Northman, probably a Stark of Winterfell. The actor goes on to say, he never wanted to be the Night King. I think he wants revenge. Everybody in this story has 2 sides, a bad side and a good side. The Night King only has one side, a bad side. Number 6, he also says that he has a very specific target that he wants to kill. You'll find out who that is. He also refers to the moment that he had with Jon Snow in Hardhome when Jon Snow was in the boat reacting to him and the Night King raises his arms as if to challenge Jon Snow, "Come at me, bro," and then raises all those whites up. He says there's a similar and even stronger moment between Jon Snow and the Night King during Season 8. I'll address both of those things in a second because we know that he has a specific target. It's probably not Jon Snow because he mentions him within this same sentence, and that would be a spoiler, and they don't allow them to give away spoilers in official interviews like this. Number 5, they ask him what his all-time favorite Night King scene is that he's played, and he says that that happens during Season 8. We haven't seen it yet. He doesn't say what it is exactly, obviously, but early theory, because he has a history as a stuntman on the TV show, is probably a big, really cool action scene during a big battle, like either the 3-way giant dragon battle in mid-air or an all-out pitch battle on the ground with him swinging his ice sword through anything that gets in his way. The most fun scenes for actors to play tend to be scenes that they have with other actors in frame. Like when Emilia Clarke talks about her favorite scenes on Game of Thrones, she doesn't usually talk about when she's doing CG green screen for Drogon flight scenes, like during Season 7, Episode 4. All really cool Daenerys riding Drogon scenes. But for the most part, when actors film those scenes, they're not quite as fun because they're by themselves with a giant green screen on a really huge-looking pommel horse device. So that's why when the Night King actor is talking about his favorite scene, it's probably him on the ground in a really big battle scene. More to that though, number 4, the Night King aerial dragon fights versus ground assault. So past few seasons, we've seen the character being relatively silent, a power player in the back that delegates a lot of the ground assaults to his White Walker generals and their hordes of whites. Now that he's got Viserion, he's much more powerful and he's actually doing things. He brought the wall down. Obviously, he's going to continue using Viserion, but speculating that it would also make sense that they somehow get him off that dragon or either kill Viserion so that he's forced to fight on the ground again. But then the obvious payoff would be you finally get to see what the Night King is like in battle. No one has crossed swords with him yet. He's never come into proximity with anyone besides Bran in that special vision. And if anyone is actually going to cross swords with him, it'll probably be Jon Snow or the other people that are wielding Valyrian steel. Because I think the whole idea with the dragon glass is that it's just as effective at killing White Walkers. It was also used in the creation of the Night King when he was at this weirwood here with the Children of the Forest. But think about it this way, Valyrian steel is probably much stronger than dragonglass. Dragonglass spears that these Unsullied and the Knights of the Vale are probably wielding are still just giant wooden poles with dragonglass on the end. The White Walkers' ice lances and the Night King's ice sword would probably dash those to pieces pretty quickly. Valyrian steel weapons, as we've seen going back to Hardhome, are much stronger against the White Walker's weapons. So if anyone actually gets to fight him on the ground, it's probably going to be one of the people with Valyrian steel. Somebody tell Gendry to borrow one of the dragons and use the dragon fire to smelt some Valyrian steel with some dragon glass mixed in. Samwell really needs to talk to Bran about forging Valyrian steel. I'm sure that he could dig up the plans for that. I get a lot of questions. Doesn't Bran know how to smelt Valyrian steel? George R. Martin hasn't revealed that secret yet, but it's probably a combination of castle forged steel mixed with dragon glass, smelted with dragon fire, which is much hotter than regular fire, and maybe even some blood magic in play. Number 3, the Night King's special scene that he talks about with Jon Snow, their standoff 2.0 moment, is probably on the ground during the big Battle of Winterfell that we see in the trailer after they destroyed a massive portion of Whites and maybe a White Walker or two. Jon Snow and Daenerys are going to be losing a lot of their forces, Dothraki, Unsullied, Knights of the Vale. The Night King is probably going to do something similar to what he did at Hardhome, where he raises Jon Snow and Daenerys' former allies as Whites to replenish his ranks, and it becomes this big horror moment when all their allies turn against them, so to speak. Maybe even one of the bigger secondary characters or two get turned into Whites, because unless they get rid of all the Whites, they're not going to have a whole lot of time to turn around in the middle of an ongoing ground assault and burn the bodies of the dead, because that's what you need to do, otherwise they're all just fodder for the Night King to raise back up as Whites. Number 2, the Night King actor says he wants revenge for being turned into the Night King. He never wanted to become this. As at the end of Season 6, it seems like most of the Children of the Forest are already dead, so he's taken his revenge against them. So the next logical step, villain logic, is that he would turn on the people that led to the circumstances for his creation, which would be humans. Think about the metaphor this way. The Children of the Forest created the Night King to end a never-ending war with humans who they perceived to be destroying their sacred weirwoods, destroying the planet. So he's already taken his revenge against them for turning him into this, but the next logical step to complete the metaphor would be to eradicate humans for starting the war in the first place, even though that goes back thousands and thousands of years. But the really big thing, number 1, his main target that he teases he specifically needs to kill during Season 8, probably not Jon Snow, like I said, just because he mentions him in the same sentence when he's talking about that, and HBO would prevent them from giving away big spoilers like that. So you automatically have to discount Jon Snow, and it's probably not Gilly's son, Little Sam. People have asked about that since the end of Season 4. The reason why I don't think that Little Sam is super important is just because the Night King could turn any human baby into a White Walker, and that's all Craster was doing, with just giving him people to replenish his ranks of White Walker generals. That's why early prediction, his specific target that he needs to take down is Bran Stark and possibly the Winterfell Heart Tree, because Bran is one of the only people we know of with the information about how to unmake the Night King now that the Children of the Forest are gone. He's like the last major threat because he has so much information going back to the beginning of all this. Yes, Daenerys' dragons can probably slow him down, injure him with dragonfire, and Valyrian steel, dragonglass might also be able to wound him, but I think that stopping him permanently is way more difficult. Isaac Hempstead Wright also revealed that Bran Stark during Season 8 is going to be much more human-like. He's gotten used to his abilities, so less turnip, more regular person that's capable of communicating with other people. The only reason why I think it will be important for the Night King to destroy the Winterfell Heart Tree is because that's probably where Bran's abilities are strongest. Also, there was a weirwood present when the Children of the Forest created the Night King, implying that it's a necessary component of getting rid of him. There are a lot of you that ask about the Isle of Faces on the books, like would the Night King want to destroy the Isle of Faces? Because in the books, it's a very powerful place for the Children of the Forest. It's where they use their magic to smash the Arm of Dorne during the war with the First Men. Even though that was unsuccessful, more people came to Westeros eventually. When they eventually signed the truce with the First Men, the pact that they signed was signed on the Isle of Faces, and that's when they carved all the faces onto the weirwoods there so that the gods would be able to see their pact. Unless Bran specifically mentions the Isle of Faces in the first episode or two, I don't expect the concept to be a big thing on the TV show during the final episodes. I could talk all day about the Isle of Faces and the Children of the Forest, but just remember that the TV show is probably going to skim past a lot of really big book stuff. So when we actually get to the episodes, I will talk about specific Easter eggs if they do mention things from the books. Let me know in the comments though, who do you think the target is that the Night King says that he's going after during Season 8? And what'll happen is there'll be more bonus videos over the weekend. Leave your requests in the comments below. Congratulations to Terminator 360. You're the giveaway winner from my last big video. Please email me on the About page of my channel so I can get your details. Click here for my Golden Company trailer video, and click here to rewatch the Game of Thrones Season 8 trailer a billion more times. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.